The MoneroTopia weekly news segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Hey guys.
Hey Tony, how's it going? to see
Good. How are you?
I'm doing alright. I think Doug is AFK right now. There is one super chat I'm going to bring up. JJ Tip 25 cents. Did you guys hear about the massive man-made structure found under the Great Pyramid on the Giza Plateau, Egypt? If this discovery is real, then ancient history is not what we thought it was. I think I saw Body post something about that the other day on X. I would bring him up, but his microphone is disconnected, so I can't. Maybe he has something to say about that later. Yeah, go ahead and take it away, Tony.
Okay. Let's see. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about today is a news article from South Korea, and essentially South Korea now, they want to be able to see what you have in your private wallet. So the title says, do you want to report your coin wallet to walk the inheritance tax? Investors backlash against mandatory registration. So with legislation mandating the declaration of an individual virtual asset wallet, holdings for inheritance and incremental taxes, the consent of the National Assembly to oppose, it has exceeded 30,000. So people are petitioning against this. Essentially, South Korea wants to see what you have in your individual wallets and to see how many virtual assets you have, your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, and whatnot. That'll be a lot more difficult if you have Monero, of course. They won't be able to see it unless you have it in your centralized exchange, which in case you should get it out and put it into a self-custody wallet. But yeah, essentially that's what's happening in South Korea right now, and that's what they're trying to do. And talking about South Korea, so somebody saw in, I think you say Latte World, which is kind of like a Disney amusement park in South Korea. Somebody saw a computer in the basement of a tower mining Monero as an art installment. So I'm going to show you the picture. It's really cool. And also the keyboard, the whole setup. And then indeed, if you zoom in, it does say random X Monero. So that's very cool and totally unexpected. So I guess somebody saw the news that South Korea is trying to steal your information, trying to see what you have in terms of virtual assets, and they just put some Monero on this laptop. Now let's see. Talking about Monero, so on RetoSwap, their monthly volume is near $3.5 million, which is a lot. And then I don't think there's anybody saying that nobody uses Monero, because clearly a lot of people are using Monero, and the transactions, as Body said, it's incrementally going up, sub 30K, but with time they're going up. But definitely there's a lot of volume in Monero. People are starting to notice Monero. It's starting to appear in shows, TV shows, movies. So it's for sure getting traction.
It's getting Hollywood famous.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Then moving on. So I want to mention Amazon. Some of you guys might have Alexa. My family has Alexa. Alexa is actually multiple in the house. I don't. I don't use Amazon. I don't like Alexa. But essentially, Amazon wants to push for Alexa Plus, which is Alexa Plus AI. Which, in case you have Alexa, you might want to pay attention, because it's going to kill off some core privacy features for everybody, which is previously you could be able to not send the recordings to Amazon, but now essentially beginning on March 28th, you essentially won't be able to block your device from sending the recordings to Amazon for analysis, because they need that data. They need all your voice data to be able to improve their AI systems. But the thing is, you just won't be able to opt out. So you had two settings in the Alexa privacy options: do not send voice recordings and do not save voice recordings, which can be found deep, of course, not easily seen in the Alexa app and Echo device settings. But the do not send voice recording option will be removed, essentially. And the company is also changing how the do not save voice recordings option works, limiting Alexa features if you don't want to save recordings locally. So
I would be surprised if anyone watching this has an Alexa already. If I go to a friend's house and like I'm talking to them and there's an Alexa in the room, I'll just usually like unplug it. That shit sketches me out.
Yeah. I think I have one, but it's in a drawer somewhere unplugged.
As it should be.
As it should be, yeah. I just don't see. I mean, yes, there's a point. People like it. You can tell it, hey Alexa, shut the lights off or play some music, but it comes at a cost of it listening to you all the time and just pushing all that data to Jeff Bezos. So I think I'm okay. But yeah, essentially that's what's coming. They want to use all your voice data for their AI, and you won't be able to opt out of the setting. So if you have an Alexa, maybe consider maybe not using it anymore. And also Alexa Plus, that's going to be a 20 per month charge, but it's going to be free for Prime users also. So it's an Alexa Plus when it comes to stealing your privacy and a minus when it comes to your privacy. Then moving on, we're going to talk about Meta. And this is kind of conflicting news, since in the past couple of weeks we talked about how essentially UK demanded Apple to just remove some of its privacy so that the UK government can look into or breach the privacy of the UK citizens. But well, I guess they went against Meta and their personalized ads, and essentially Meta is thinking right now to have a version in which they charge the customers for Instagram, for Facebook, and then you don't have personalized ads, or they're trying to see what they're going to do right now. But there was a case from Tanya O'Carroll, a human rights campaigner. She launched a lawsuit against the $1.5 trillion company in 2022, alleging it had breached UK data laws by failing to respect her right to demand Facebook to stop collecting and processing her data in order to target her with adverts. Which, if the app is free, or if the software is free, you're usually the product. And that's why Instagram, Facebook, that's why they are free, because you are the product. You are the way you interact with the applications. That's what they're collecting. That's how they make money, essentially. And yeah, so Mark Zuckerberg's Meta also said that they are considering charging UK users for an advert-free version of its platforms after the legal agreement that avoided a trial in the High Court in London. And O'Carroll said the support of the Information Commissioner's Office, ICO, meant the writing is on the wall. O'Carroll also said this is an individual settlement, but I believe its ramifications extend far beyond me. The key factor is the UK Data Protection Authority, which backed my case and has publicly stated that it will support people in the UK who wish to exercise the right to object to online targeted ads. Which again, it's conflicting that now, I guess with this case, they care about the privacy of the user, but they demanded Apple to remove some of the privacy features, and all in all, they don't care about the privacy of the individuals, as we have seen, because now they're policing over social media, and if you post something that they don't like, then essentially become a criminal, and they can go to your house and just imprison you. So that's I don't know. It's very conflicting to what we've been seeing in the past. So I'm not sure what to think about it. But it'll be interesting to see if Facebook, Instagram, Meta's platforms, if they're gonna have a different version in the UK in which you just pay per month, and then you don't get your information sent out to Meta. That'll be interesting to see. Then moving on. Let's talk about the US Treasury removing sanctions on Ethereum Mixer Tornado Cash in policy shift. Let's go to, let's see.
It's big.
Yeah, so this is big. The US Treasury Department has officially lifted the sanctions on Tornado Cash. Undoing a decision made in 2022, this change announced today marks a significant shift in the government's approach to regulating privacy-focused cryptocurrency tools. It's really big news. Now, I mean, some people would say, well, we don't need the government to tell us what to do or what not to do, which, yes, but in the same time, if they're not hostile towards privacy tools, it does make it a bit easier. In the same time, the more, I would say, the more hostile it is, the more people would lean towards Monero, and then the opposite can happen too. So yes, we can benefit a little bit from the government being really stepping against privacy tools, because then more people would look into Monero. But anyway, this is good news for sure. And so yeah, and OFAC removes Tornado Cash contract addresses from its SDN list. And if we go on to here, we see from the Office of Foreign Assets Control, cyber-related designation removal, North Korea designation update and removal, and there's a bunch of addresses from one being even from Roman, and a bunch of North Korean addresses. I assume some Russian addresses, but yeah, these are just, I guess, removed from the OFAC's SDN list. So it's quite big news for sure. And today's Brian Armstrong, which is the CEO of Coinbase, he said on Twitter, or on X, no one wants to see bad folks use crypto, but privacy is an important feature for many law-abiding citizens, and you can sanction open source code. It's free. It's a free speech issue. Glad to see this get fixed. We look forward to working with Treasury to find ways to combat the 0.1% approximate of illicit activity in crypto, far less than cash or the banking system, in ways that are in line with American laws and values. I think last episode or 2 episodes ago, we kind of went through just the percentage of illicit activities in crypto versus just dollars in general. And obviously the ones in dollars are much larger than the one in crypto. Of course, if we can have less of it, less criminal activities, that'll be good. But privacy is very, very important. And I like what Doug retweeted on X, which is when is Monero going to be on Coinbase? We don't need Monero on Coinbase. And actually, I hate Coinbase. It's a horrible platform. High fees, and just the stuff that they make you go through in that platform is just horrible support. I don't recommend you use it at all. If you're going to use a centralized exchange, use Kraken or something else. But a lot of people, they use Coinbase. So if he does care so much about privacy, why wouldn't you just list Monero? I guess with time, as
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Armstrong, he likes Monero, doesn't he? But of course, Coinbase is they kind of, I think they try to put themselves as like the most trustworthy and government compliant exchange. So listing Monero will not be an option for them.
I wonder if with time, as laws change and legislations, if they would actually list it. Is Zcash on Coinbase? Or the other
I don't even
ones,
think
or
Zcash is
Pirate
on Coinbase, but I can't confirm.
I'll check. Zcash.
Yeah,
Coinbase.
air quote more trustworthy. Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Okay. So Zcash is it? I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is. Okay.
If I could do air quotes, I would have done air quotes, because I'm not saying they're actually more trustworthy. That's just what they want to look like.
Yeah. Which, if you go on Reddit and you look for Coinbase, there's almost every single post is a complaint of the support system, of just the whole app. It's really bad, but so many people are using it, and a lot of posts are just people saying that, hey, somebody just withdrew from my own personal account into a different account. It's just crazy stuff like that. So I would definitely not
free
recommend
money.
you guys.
Just spend someone else's. You withdraw someone else's coins. Coinbase.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy actually. So yeah, guys, I would say don't use Coinbase if you're gonna use a centralized exchange. Use Kraken or something else. Now, let's watch. I wanted to show you this. Yeah, we'll watch a minute and 34 seconds of Michael Saylor. I just wanted you to see how he thinks about Bitcoin and where it's going, and to kind of talk about it a little bit. But the way he talks about Bitcoin is so prophetic, and it just makes you want to sell everything you have to buy into his bags, and just to add on. But yeah, let's watch a little bit.
You buy Bitcoin, you hold it for more than 4 years, Joe. That's my advice to everybody.
For anyone, buy it and hold it for more than 4 years. And then you think eventually it takes how much, let's say it is digital gold, what percentage of gold's market cap does it finally?
Bitcoin's 0.1% of the capital in the world right now. I think it's going to go to 7% of the capital.
7%.
My long-term forecast is it's going to go to 13 million over 21 years.
13 million.
13 million. But what is it 5 years from now? In your 4-year calculus.
It's been growing 44% a year with about a 40 to 50 vol. I would think it'll move on at 40%, then click down to 35, then 30, then 25. And at some point it'll be the S&P return plus 8%, and it'll be the S&P vol plus 8%, because it's always going to be a more global, open, free capital market. Bitcoin's an expression in this view that you want to invest in an asset without counterparty risk, which means you don't want to be counterparty to a country, a currency, a city, a company, a commodity, or a culture, right? So people think it's a risky thing. It's all about people wanting to not take risk. They don't want to guess whether Picasso's or real estate in New York or NVIDIA stock will be higher in 10 years. They want to buy money. They want to buy 1/21 millionth of all the money in the world.
Okay, so I'm looking on YouTube. This is delusion personified. Yeah, close it. I'm embarrassed to look at these old men here. Okay, yeah, yeah. But I just wanted to show it to you guys and talk a little bit about it. But okay, so he talks about how Bitcoin is transcending countries, is transcending culture, but yet he's going to the top companies in the US and essentially kind of trying to get them into buying Bitcoin. He was at the crypto summit in the United States, and he was a big part of it as well. And now, the US has Bitcoin. So he wants big companies, he wants countries to have Bitcoin. So he doesn't care about it transcending countries and transcending the third eye or whatever. He just wants to pump his bags, and it's insane how much Bitcoin he has. It's insane, and it's insane the things that he says, to sell your kidney, to max out your credit cards just to buy more Bitcoin, sell your car, or stuff like that. It's it's just delusional. It's insanity. And even if it does get to 13 million, I would be slightly impressed, but then not at all, because it's just,
I mean, in 20 years, how much is 13 million actually going to be?
Yeah. Well, not too. That's a good question too. But yeah, I guess I do believe that eventually, as he gets, more countries, maybe more companies to buy into Bitcoin and into his bets, that Bitcoin will become more stable over time, and it's not going to have these huge falls, and it's going to become more stabilized. But somebody's UTXO, even if it gets to 13 million, your life would suck without kidneys. Yeah. Or maybe
because he told you to sell kidneys to buy Bitcoin, wasn't it him? Michael Saylor. Yeah, that's funny.
Well, I guess if you bought now, you can sell some and then rebuy your kidney, but this is definitely not financial advice. Monero will overtake Bitcoin. I'm convinced of this. Can't tell when. Yeah, I would hope so as well, but it's just the way Bitcoin works. It's not sustainable. Also, when it comes to the fees, like eventually, the last Bitcoin is going to be mined, and then what? They're just going to mine it off of the fees. What's going to happen?
Well, I think this is the plan, is that they're shifting it from being, it's been like this for years now, is that they're shifting Bitcoin's primary use case from something that you use on chain to something that's just merely traded, because it's this, limited asset. But the less it's usable on the base chain, the less inherent value it has. So
yeah,
But most people don't even trade. Like most people who trade don't actually use Bitcoin. No, it's all being done on custodial ledgers. So
Yeah. So he clearly just cares about his own bags because like he wants institutions to be in. He doesn't care about holding your own crypto. I think he even tweeted one time about I forgot what he said. Oh, if you're paranoid and you are into self custody, like something like that. Essentially, yeah, just put your Bitcoin into some centralized exchange and it's all good. And just the day this is all gonna collapse, it's gonna be insane. We'll see what's gonna happen, but yeah, it's crazy. Now, okay, let's see. The last thing that I want to talk about this week is Trump's full address at the Digital Assets Summit. So we'll listen to the whole video. It's 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And then we'll kind of talk about the dollar-backed stablecoins and what that could mean, essentially. So let's watch this video.
States is going to dominate at the Blockworks Digital Assets Summit. It's an honor to speak with you about how the United States is going to dominate crypto and the next generation of financial technologies. And it's not going to be easy, but we're way ahead. Just 2 weeks ago, we hosted the first ever White House Digital Asset Summit, bringing together many of the world's top leaders in crypto for a conversation led by our White House AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who's a fantastic and very brilliant guy. That same week, I signed an order creating the brand new strategic Bitcoin reserve and the U.S. digital asset stockpile, which will allow the federal government to maximize the value of its holdings instead of foolishly selling them for a fraction of their long-term value, which is exactly what Biden did. He got a fraction of their value. We're ending the last administration's regulatory war on crypto and Bitcoin, and that includes stopping the lawless Operation Choke Point 2.0. Operation Choke Point went beyond regulation, and I mean far beyond. It was a form of lawfare through government weaponization. Frankly, it was a disgrace. But as of January 20th, 2025, all of that is over. I've also called on Congress to pass landmark legislation creating simple, common sense rules for stablecoins and market structure. With the right legal framework, institutions large and small will be liberated to invest, innovate, and take part in one of the most exciting technological revolutions in modern history. It's so big, it's, I think, as big as you can get. Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar, and many, many years to come, it'll be at the top, and that's where we want to keep it. We only want to keep it at the top, always. I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country, and it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. And right here, it's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world. Thank you. Good luck. God bless America.
Yeah, definitely good luck. I heard this guy gets paid every time he mentions crypto and fails to mention Monero. Ever noticed that? He intentionally won't talk about it. Yeah, that's what they all do. Sometimes they talk about privacy, but they never mention Monero. They mention maybe a Zcash or other stuff, or they talk about privacy, but they just never mention Monero. Now, let's see. He talked about the dollar-backed stablecoins, and I like what Lola posted on X, and I'd like to go through it a little bit. So she said, with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the US dollar. It will be at the top, and that's where we wanted to keep it. So that's what Trump said. And then what he means by it, and that's what I think as well, is that with the dollar-backed stablecoins, the global south will pivot towards digital dollars over local currencies, allowing private US government-controlled entities to replace bank accounts around the globe. This does not just allow for the expansion of the US dominance, bypassing local governments. It gives the US unprecedented and direct control over worldwide economies, as every stablecoin can effectively, and this is very important, can be effectively frozen on behalf of the US with the click of a button. Additionally, it will provide the US with never seen before surveillance, because this is not Monero. These things are transparent. So they'll have never seen before surveillance capabilities, providing real-time access to financial transactions around the globe, fueling the unparalleled public-private partnership between Silicon Valley and the US war machine. If you're promoting stablecoins, you're promoting the end of national sovereignty in favor of total techno-fascist dystopia. I like this. I like this term, techno-fascist dystopia. But that's what I think as well. I wonder how many countries will bite into it, because this is a huge Trojan horse that essentially they would push onto the world. It's not private. It's transparent. They can see your transactions, and they can also freeze it. So these things are very dangerous, and I'm curious to see how many countries will actually start to use it in the future, or how far this dollar-backed stablecoin is going to go. And yeah, this whole thing is definitely, I think, just the US's way of profiting, gaining more terrain over the whole world, and not really doing it for the benefit of the citizens. Like with the Bitcoin reserve, I mean, in a way, I think that it's very smart. They're not buying it, as far as I know. They're just, obtaining it from criminals, fraudulent activities, and then they're just holding it. And Michael Saylor is very happy with this, because then obviously the US government is holding it because it assumes that it's going to appreciate over time. He's happy, they're happy, they're going to keep doing it. And it's just some over-glorified Pokemon card with no privacy. You can't even get some coffee on it because the fees are too high, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's insane. But yeah, so I'm curious to see how far the dollar-backed stablecoin is going to go into the future, and what countries will accept it. But yeah, so this was this week's of news, guys. We talked about some interesting stuff. Again, if you have Alexa, maybe you want to unplug it. If you have family members that have Alexa, like I do, I have family.
Do them a favor. Unplug their Alexa.
Yeah. but it's crazy. Sometimes you don't even say Alexa, and it just starts talking or whatever. But it's listening all the time. It's not like it's just listening from the moment you say, "Hey Alexa," and then it starts listening. It's always listening, because it always has to listen for it to even register the "Hey Alexa," and it's dangerous. It's just crazy. Like you just can't opt out from sending your recordings to Amazon, and it's not like they're gonna go onto each individual one with personnel, which I think they did in 2019. They had people actually go over the recordings manually, but now with AI, they just get all of them, NLPs, and use AI to process
They'll
them.
create a fingerprint for your voice.
Yeah, and with this algorithm, which I like personalized algorithms, and I don't use Amazon, but when I do go on Amazon, it's the recommendations are perfect. Like that's exactly the book I want. Which is good, and
They got Tony
too.
sucked in. I mean, if you're gonna use one of these things, I mean, Amazon's not a good choice. Amazon's a very poor company in terms of how they treat your data. At the very least, use Apple, use Siri. Apple's kind of the better one in these regards. But personally, I don't use any of these assistants whatsoever.
Same.
So. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Tony, so much for getting into that news. I don't know if Doug is still AFK. He might be, but I will be pulling up. I guess. Oh, hello.
Just one thing. What
Sorry,
about your
ahead,
Android
Tony.
or Apple phone? Yeah, I know. I still have. Yeah, I have an iPhone. I have an iPad. I know. I will
say, Tony.
Yep,
I will say that iOS significantly better than stock Android. Okay, so if it's like, now I use Graphene OS, but if it was the choice between stock Android and iOS, I would probably use iOS instead.
Yeah, but optimally you go to Graphene OS.
Yes, which is my main phone.
Yeah. Tony, did you see the new Boston Dynamics Atlas video, new robot? It just needs AI, and boom, we're all. And I think I saw it, or I think I saw a different robot. I'm gonna check it out after. Thank you, Foxquite. Imagine how we are all accept the fact how we've all been conditioned to accept an uncovered selfie cam on every phone. Right? Yeah. That too. Okay, so I'll stop here, guys. Take it away.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, guys.